Human trafficking is a crime that involves the harbouring and transportation of persons through force, threat or coercion for the purposes of exploitation. Child labourers and sweatshop workers are examples of trafficked people. It can be linked to people smuggling but is distinct from it, since trafficking does not require the illegal crossing of borders. ACRATH, which stands for the Australian Catholic Religious Against Trafficking in Humans, is an organisation that seeks to inform people on the issues surrounding human trafficking. It does this through advocacy, communication and education. ACRATH's membership comprises laypeople and religious who are committed to eliminating all forms of human trafficking. Sister Denise Mulcahy, FCJ, works part-time in Albert Park as office administrator.
Trafficking can take various forms. One form would be sometimes people come to a country, and it could be to Australia as well, thinking that they will take on one form of work. And when they come here, they may find themselves actually trafficked into the labour force. And that would be simply working long hours and not being given the correct fees, the correct wages for that. It could be being forced into a marriage, either here or being taken to a country of your parents' origin and forced into a marriage there. It could be in the fruit picking industry. It could be in mining. And I'm afraid to have to say it's also in organ trafficking, the trafficking of human organs.
Her role is in a voluntary capacity and involves attending to correspondence, donations and facilitating the efficient running of the office. Sister Denise also serves as an assistant to the National Executive Officer. Each year, the ACRATH National Conference is held in Canberra. It's an opportunity for ACRATH members to meet with members of Parliament to advocate for those who are trafficked into Australia. ACRATH members are seeking a stronger human rights response. ACRATH has the possibility of collaboration both nationally and internationally with like-minded organisations in Australia, the Asia-Pacific region and elsewhere to advocate for measures that address human trafficking. For ACRATH, it's important that all people are educated about trafficking by learning more about the issues involved, followed by action. Some of these actions take the form of campaigning, signing petitions, letter writing, or the purchasing of gifts, clothes and other goods from fair trade outlets. Fair trade ensures that goods are procured and produced in a humane environment, free from exploitation and slavery.
My name's Margaret Olson and I'm a faithful companion of Jesus, and I walk with people who have the AIDS virus. Well, I retired from teaching and I was given the opportunity to think of what I might like to get into when I was 60 and had some energy. And the area that was a need, which nuns try to answer at that time, was many people were getting the AIDS virus and dying very young. And I thought, well, that's where church needs to be. So I set out to be trained. I did my clinical pastoral education. When I started 20 years ago, when people got the illnesses related to HIV, they died within 2 years because there was no tablets to help keep them alive. Now, the tablet can help them to live for over 20 years. The advance in science is so marvellous that help is there for them. When I went to South Australia, it was a very marvellous experience because I had gone for the families and many of the young men were dying at that time. And they had partners and their families were there. So when the partners and the families came together, because sometimes the families weren't happy about their lifestyle, so for myself being a nun, I think it helped them that, okay, if this nun can see that his partner's good for him, and we can all work together to give him a peaceful way of going to meet Jesus. And so we formed a group actually to help allowed people to say how they felt as well, because, you know, the parents were supporting not only the person that had the virus, but also the rest of the family. And they got a lot out of it. And for me, I think it was one of my highlights of working in this area. The International AIDS Conference was in Melbourne, and it was a great pleasure to attend the lectures on new drugs, new medications, and then you had groups of people like from South Africa, from Zimbabwe, many African countries that spoke about what was actually happening in their countries now. The biggest surprise I think that I got when I was working in South Australia was that I got an Order of Australia medal, and it made me reflect on how without the volunteers, without the mums, without the guys who have the virus, I could never have done what I was involved in. And we worked as a team, so the medal was for all of us, not just me.
Sister Anne Morrison is back home from working in poor communities in Bolivia for 14 years. In 2013, she was asked to form a group to look at the ways in which the FCJ sisters in Australia could support asylum seekers. Across Victoria, several FCJ sisters sprang into action through creating opportunities for information gathering and sharing. These included the screening of the documentary Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea to the FCJ community to assist in understanding the plight of the asylum seekers. Sister Anne gave talks to Year 8 girls at Genesano who responded with interest and enthusiasm and more insightful questions. They wrote very mature and sensitive thank you notes. English language learning is the great need for most new arrivals to Australia, but more especially for asylum seekers. There are a number of classes around Melbourne, and each week Sister Anne teaches at Dandenong. Students come from a range of Middle Eastern and Asian countries to form diverse tutor groups. They attend 3 2-hour sessions each week. Sister Anne says the students have a very positive attitude and are keen to learn. The areas they have difficulty with are the usual demons: pronunciation, use of prepositions, tense and plurals. Their aspirations are to gain a visa, a job, and to bring out their families. The sisters give financial support on a case-by-case basis. At present, a young woman from Ethiopia who has part-time employment is being helped to achieve her dream of becoming a nurse. Late in 2013, an apartment owned by the sisters became vacant. It has now been made available to a family in need of a home. This is being managed by Catholic Care for the FCJ Society. Some parishes have their own initiatives to assist asylum seekers. The sisters help where appropriate. At St Anthony's Alphington, for example, Sister Margaret Kennedy is on a parish committee that once a month buys goods at wholesale prices. These are available for parishioners to buy and then donate back for the asylum seekers, with the distribution coordinated through the Asylum Seeker Resource Centre. In addition, the parish organises a winter coat collection and a fundraising dinner each year. The FCJ Sisters and Companions in Mission, along with colleagues and friends, donated goods and vouchers, and these were packaged into hampers and delivered to the Brigidine Asylum Centre for distribution. Global indifference is one of the major issues facing asylum seekers. Pope Francis captured this when he said, "The other is no longer a brother or sister to be loved, but simply someone who disturbs my life and my comfort." In this globalized world, we have fallen into global indifference. We have become used to the suffering of others. It doesn't affect me, it doesn't concern me, it's none of my business.